Welcome to Information Systems 101. My name is Matt Williamson, and I'll be presenting the material for this course.
The first thing you're going to want to do in this class is to read over the syllabus. Now, this does vary by instructor, but it's going to give you all the information you need about the course as far as what you're supposed to do. It's going to talk about a description of the course. It's going to give you contact information for the instructor. It's going to tell you what topics are going to be discussed in this class. It's going to tell you about the grading policies and procedures. It's going to tell you about the different types of assignments that you're going to have to do, a schedule of the coursework and all the lectures. It's going to give you deadlines, but all the important information about the course is available on the syllabus. So please make sure you take some time to read it over. Now, the next thing you need to do is get the book. Yes, this is an online class, and you might think, well, I don't need the book. I can just watch all the lectures and I'm good to go. That's not true. The book is given for a reason, not just to say we have to give a book. I mean, there is a book associated with it because you do need to spend some time reading over the material. So, I mean, you can read the material, watch the videos, connect the two together to help you understand this course better. But don't just think that I can ignore the book. There's going to be a lot of material that's in there. Anything that's said in the lecture videos, anything that's written in the book, all that is fair game when it comes to the exams. So you are responsible for reading over that material. Now, as far as the coursework itself is concerned, it's going to vary by instructor as far as how much you're going to do or how much each assignment or exam is worth. But whatever section you have for the course, they're going to have a combination of these different types of assessments. You're first going to have lecture quizzes. At the end of every video lecture, there's going to be a quiz associated with it. This is so that we know that you have actually watched a video and you have an understanding of that particular lecture. So when you go online and you go to a particular lesson, you're going to see the video and then you're going to see a quiz associated with it. So you are expected to solve that problem. And whatever that problem is, it can vary by instructor, but there is going to be a small quiz with every single lecture. You're going to have homework assignments. These could be handwritten, these could be typed. Now, it is an online class, so I would anticipate that most instructors would have you type the assignments, but this is something that you're going to write up. It could be problems in the book, it could be problems that the instructor comes up with, but you're going to have to answer some questions just to help make sure that you understand the material, and you're going to have to turn it into the instructor, whether you submit it online or email or hand deliver it. That's just going to depend on the instructor once again, but you are going to have some homework assignments. There will be some exams. As far as the number of exams, that could vary. Some instructors may only give like one midterm exam. Some instructors may give a couple of exams. But do expect some exams that you're going to have to do online. And then, of course, there will be a final exam. I mean, this is a full-fledged class. You do plan on a final exam at the end of the course. There are penalties for turning in the work late. We would prefer that if you just turn everything in on time, but we do know that there are circumstances where you may not be able to turn things on time, but there is a policy. It depends by instructor. Some may give like a penalty for turning in after being so late. Some may do a different approach, but this is one of those things where you want to refer to the syllabus to see what the late policy is. But the simple answer is just to make sure you turn in everything on time. And the last thing I'm going to mention is don't cheat in this class. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help you learn the material. It's just not worth it. And most of it, we've been doing this stuff for a long time as far as teaching the course. We can tell very easily whether you copied assignments from someone else. So it just saves everyone a lot of trouble if you just don't go that route, because it will come back to bite you on the exams if you cheated on the assignments. And if you try to cheat during the exam, that's going to be a major problem too. So just save yourself the trouble and don't cheat. Now, although the course is called Intro to Information Systems, it's more of an introduction to computer science because the two go very well together. So what we're going to be doing in this class is giving you this broad overview of some of the major topics of computer science that gets applied to information systems. Now, before we do that, we're first going to tell you what computer science isn't. So we're going to channel our inner mythbuster and bust some of the myths that people have about computer science. So the first myth is that computer science is the study of computers. And well, yes, we do study computers and we do stuff with it. But the reason why this isn't true is because there are some domains of computer science that don't even use a computer. So, I mean, there's a whole area of theory and algorithms where we don't even touch a computer. It's all handwritten stuff, it's all theory based, just trying to come up ways of solving different types of problems, but you don't even touch a computer at all in that area. So it's not the case that every single aspect of computer science even involves a computer. The second myth is that computer science is the study of how to write computer programs. Now, this is partially true. I mean, don't get me wrong, programming is important. We do a lot of programming. We teach people how to write programs. I mean, that is a major aspect. But the thing is, those programs are just a tool that we use for doing all sorts of different tasks. So it is a major part, but it's not the big part. It's not the complete idea of computer science. And then the third myth is that computer science is the study of the uses and applications of computers and software. We use applications. Yes, we do use different types of programs to help us with varying different types of tasks. So people do use these applications. But what a computer scientist does is they specify, they design, build, and test applications. It's the whole development process. So while normal people will use applications, computer scientists will create these applications. So they have to come up with the specifications, the design part of it, building it and testing it, making sure that it actually works. So I mean, it's not about studying all these different types of programs available. That's not our goal here. But we'll look at different programs to help create programs. But once again, these programs are only a tool for computer science and not the actual overall computer science. So you're probably now asking, what is computer science if it isn't about computers or writing programs or using programs? Well, computer science is simply the study of solving problems. That's it. I mean, I guess you could say it's problem-solving science, although that's not really the technical term, but really computer science is about the study of solving different types of problems. All these other aspects that we talked about, they help us with solving problems. So let me give you just a couple of examples to clarify this. So I mean, we write programs, but these programs are tools for solving some type of problem. You need to write a report. Well, there is a program like Microsoft Word, for example, or Notepad, or some other form of text editor that allows you to write reports. Do you need to keep track of spreadsheets for data? Well, we can use databases to solve those types of problems that relate to managing data. We can use spreadsheets, but there are different types of applications out there that help us with that. What if we need to connect with other programs or other people? Well, there are different types of networks we can use. Networking in general can solve problems that are related to connecting programs or connecting people. So these are just a couple examples, but the whole point here is that we have different types of problems, different types of tasks that we need to solve. And so what we look at in computer science and information systems is, how do we solve these problems? What are some different techniques that we can use for solving these types of problems? So if computer science is all about solving different problems, then, well, what's information systems? I mean, I've been saying that they're very similar to each other. In fact, like I said in this class, we're going to be going over an overview of computer science. So what is information systems? Well, I mean, we're still solving problems and we're still going to be writing programs. You need to know those things if you're going to go into information systems. The difference is that we're really looking at how we process and interpret information. It's not just about writing programs, but it's about taking our data and be able to manage that data and be able to interpret that information. And this is mostly used in a business environment or an organization type environment. So usually you will find people working in the business field that are writing programs for collecting data, maybe doing stuff with incomes, numbers, but that's the kind of area that we're looking at. In fact, most graduates of an information systems program will either become IT professionals, they may become consultants, they may become technical administrators, so like server administrators, network administrators, database administrators, but these are the types of positions that information system majors go into. So if you're thinking about going into some type of management that involves computing, then information systems is what you should be considering. Let's now take a look at how computer science and information systems differ from each other. Just that way you can have a better idea of this distinction between the two fields. So with computer science, we focus more on the depth of particular topics. So we'll get into really nitty-gritty details and focus on specific areas. Whereas with information systems, we kind of have a more breadth of information. So we'll, like I said in this class, we're going to give a general overview of a lot of the topics in computer science, but we're not going to go into a lot of depth in any particular one of those topics. That's what you would do in computer science. Now, in computer science, there's a lot more math involved. In fact, most computer science majors have to do Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, linear algebra, probability, stats, but they do some very high-level math in order to do some of the stuff they have to do in computer science. Whereas in information systems, since it's more in the business environment, you probably don't need Calc 3 in order to write some of these different programs, so there is less math. Don't get me wrong, there is still math involved. Okay, I don't care what kind of computing field you're going to, you're going to have to do some math, but there's not as much math compared to a computer science degree. Now, in computer science, there is a lot more theory behind some of the stuff. So when you look at things like algorithms, automata, compilers, operating systems, there's a lot of theory that goes behind those areas. Like I was saying earlier, that there are some topics where you don't even do anything with the computer. It's just all theory based. Now, information systems is more about the applications. We look at different types of tools that we can use for solving different types of problems. So we really don't go into a lot of theory behind it. We just kind of show a lot of the tools that are available to you to help solve different problems. Computer scientists will go into research and development type jobs because they're usually the ones that are creating different types of programs. They're solving different problems. So it's not too surprising that you would find computer scientists in the research development area. Whereas information system majors will go into business and administration jobs. So like I was saying before, like server administrators, network administrators, database administrators are very common jobs for information systems majors. Just working in that business corporate environment is where you see most information systems graduates. And finally, the other big difference between computer science and information systems is that in computer science, we look at why does something work? Why does a compiler work? Why does an operating system work? Why does this programming language work? We look at the why portion of solving problems. Why does this algorithm solve this particular problem? Whereas in information systems, we look at the how. How does something work? How do we use this tool? How do we use this program? How does this algorithm work? And we may talk a little bit about the why, but we don't care too much about the why something works, and we focus more on the how.